Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to do the neck opening for the Super Breezy top. Here I have just a mini version of the top, so a provisional cast on here, and then we're just working up. This edge will form the armholes on either side, and right now I'm going to show you the neck opening. So when you get to the neck opening row, you'll just work in pattern until until you get to the neck opening, and then to start we'll do a I-cord cast off. So to do the I-cord cast off, we actually need to cast on 2 stitches. So we'll do a cabled cast on where you go in between the stitches, draw up a loop, and then place it back on the left needle, and then repeat that one more time. So go between these 2 stitches, draw up a loop, and place it back on the needle. Now we have 2 extra stitches. And now we'll do the I-cord bind off. So for I-cord bind off, you knit 1 stitch and then knit 2 together through the back loop, and then place those 2 stitches back on the left hand needle. So knit 2 stitches, or knit 1 stitch and then knit 2 together through the back loop. And then you'll just do that all the way across until you have done the number of stitches that you need to bind off. So now I have 1 more stitch to bind off. So just knit 1, knit 2 together through the back loop, and then you can go ahead and place those 2 stitches back on the left needle. And so now I should have the same amount of stitches on this side as this side, because I am doing the neck opening in the middle of the work. So I have 9 stitches here, and then I have 9 stitches on this side, plus these 2 stitches for the I-cord bind off. And we're going to use those 2 to do the I-cord cast on when we come back to it. So for now we just leave these stitches and we're going to knit them and then continue on the rest of the way in pattern. So we can get back to the other side, and then we'll continue back in pattern. When we get to that gap, then we'll do a cast on. Okay, now I'm on the wrong side of the work, and I've worked back in pattern until I come to these 2 stitches, and we're going to use those 2 stitches for the I-cord cast on. So for the I-cord cast on, we're actually just going to use yarn overs in between working on the I-cord to create extra stitches. So first we start with just a yarn over, and then we will purl 2. And now we'll transfer those 2 stitches back to the left hand needle and do it again. So yarn over, you do want to keep your yarn overs as tight as you can. And then purl 2. Always keeping the yarn in front. Transfer the stitches back. You're doing an I-cord, but you're doing a purl I-cord, and then knit 2. So, all right, so now we're getting to a little bit of the tricky part. If this part seems just a little too much, you can always do one more yarn over and purl 2 together, and then bind these 2 off, bind off 2, and continue on your way. But I'm going to show you a way. In the pattern it has you stop 1 stitch less than the number you bound off here, and that's because we're just going to kind of work these stitches together to make that extra stitch, and then we won't have to bind them off. And also I'm going to come, so I've done the number of stitches that needed to cast on, purled 2, and then slipped these stitches back. So that's where I left off here. But now I'm going to turn my work kind of upside down to look at those stitches that I casted on for the I-cord. It's a little hard to see, but they're kind of right here. So you can see this is the I-cord that we bound off the stitches. And I'm just going to stick my needle, my left hand needle, into a couple of those stitches and it's not real critical, so don't worry too much about it. But stick your needle into those stitches, and then I'm going to purl all of these together. The ones that I picked up, plus the 2 stitches that were left from my I-cord cast on. And that just kind of closes up the hole for the neck opening. If you don't do that step, I'll show it to you from this side. If you don't do that step, then you do have to come back later and kind of seam the 2 stitches that you cast on with the 2 stitches that you bound off. But this way makes it look pretty good. And then you just continue on your way in pattern, and then I will show you what that looks like. What that looks like from the front, if I can knit. So then you have a nice kind of continuous border around your neck opening. Thanks for watching.